The case of the flight attendant in the closet, a true crime nightmare opening. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Picture yourself gliding through the clouds, serving drinks with a polished smile, your uniform crisp, your poise unshakable. That's the life of a flight attendant, glamorous on the surface. But beneath the shine, they navigate dreams, heartbreak, and sometimes dangers nobody sees coming. Today we're diving into a case that rocked Hong Kong to its core, a chilling story of obsession that ended in a brutal murder. Fair warning, this one's heavy, packed with graphic violence and betrayal, so if that's too much, feel free to skip it. Buckle up as we unravel the horrifying fate of Mandy Tran, a young woman whose life was stolen in the most unthinkable way. Let's get started. On a bone-chilling Sunday night, December 8th, 2013, Hong Kong's Regal Gardens, a towering oasis for the city's elite, lies cloaked in winter silence. Its marble hallways gleam under dim lights, the air sharp with December's frost. In apartment 12B, 22-year-old Michelle Tran lies awake, her heart pounding like a drum. A call from her sister Mandy's boss at Skystar Airlines has turned her world upside down. Mandy, a 26-year-old flight attendant, hasn't shown up for work in 4 days. Have you heard from her? The supervisor asked, her voice taut with concern. Michelle's stomach twists into knots. Mandy lives for her job, hopping flights to Paris, Tokyo, or Dubai, her suitcase packed with obsessive precision. Missing a shift, unfathomable. Michelle hasn't seen her in days, assuming she was on a long haul, maybe snapping selfies by the Sydney Opera House or wandering London's foggy streets. But 4 days of silence. That's a scream in the dark. Michelle grabs her phone, hands unsteady, and dials Mandy's number. Voicemail. She tries Mandy's new boyfriend, Kevin. Voicemail again. A cold dread coils around her, tightening with each unanswered call. By 2 a.m., she's up, tearing through the apartment, flipping on lights, yanking open drawers, desperate for any hint of her sister's whereabouts. Michelle shares a cozy bedroom with Mandy and their middle sister, Lisa, who's studying abroad in Singapore. As she searches, she notices Mandy's suitcase and handbag. Her travel essentials are gone. Then her gaze lands on Mandy's bed. The blanket is tucked tight, but it bulges oddly, as if hiding something. Heart racing, Michelle pulls it back. Her breath catches a gasp trapped in her throat. Mandy's Skystar uniform, navy blazer, white blouse, red scarf, lies meticulously arranged with her high heels and handbag like a display in a twisted museum. Mandy's a clean freak. She'd rather walk on glass than let her shoes touch the bed. Panic surges, a tidal wave crashing over Michelle. She shouts for her parents, her voice splintering with fear. Her mom, weary from a marathon shift at their family noodle shop, and her dad, a quiet man with hands rough from years of labor, stumble in, eyes wide with alarm. Mandy's missing Michelle cries, her words tumbling out. They spread out, checking closets under beds, calling Mandy's name until their voices crack. Then a gut-wrenching cry from her dad pierces the air. He's frozen at the bedroom closet, his face ashen, hands trembling like leaves in a storm. "She's here," he chokes, barely audible. Michelle rushes over her legs, buckling, a scream lodged in her chest. The closet door gapes open, revealing a nightmare etched into their souls. Mandy's body crammed upside down, her legs, pale as bone, rigid as stone, a rancid stench of mothballs and decay flooding their senses. The family's world shatters into fragments. Michelle, fighting waves of nausea, steadies herself. "Don't touch anything," she orders, her voice sharp despite the tremor. She dials 911, and by 2:30 a.m., Regal Gardens is a chaos of flashing red and blue lights. Police, paramedics, and crime scene techs swarm the building, their radios crackling in the frigid air. Inside the closet, Mandy's body tells a harrowing story, still dressed in her Skystar uniform, the red scarf knotted so tightly around her neck, it's carved a deep groove into her skin. Her face is frozen in terror, eyes wide, blood crusted beneath her nose. Her hands curled into fists, nails broken and bloody from a desperate fight. The sight is so unnatural, so wrong, it feels like a scene ripped from a horror film, not their reality. The coroner's report lands like a sledgehammer. Mandy died on the afternoon of December 4th, 4 days earlier, strangled with the scarf and the killer's bare hands. She fought fiercely, scratches cover her head, and hands, her knuckles bruised from striking out her neck, bearing 5 brutal marks, 2 claw-like scrapes, 3 jagged gouges that speak of feral rage. The closet was stuffed with winter coats and mothballs and Hong Kong's chilly December air, slow decomposition masking the smell. For 4 days, the family lived mere feet from Mandy's body, eating meals, watching TV, sleeping oblivious to the horror hidden behind a door. The realization churns Michelle's stomach, her parents clinging to each other, unable to speak their grief a silent storm. Investigators uncover critical clues. Mandy's phone and debit card are missing, her SIM card ripped out to sever all communication. Her last known act was a 3 p.m. call to Skystar on December 4th, requesting sick leave. In a sterile precinct room, police play the recording for Michelle and her dad. Mandy's voice, usually vibrant and full of life, is a faint trembling whisper. "I'm sick. I can't come," in the words halting, as if spoken with a knife to her throat. Michelle's tears spill over. "That's not Mandy," she says, voice breaking. She's bold, always laughing. Someone forced her to make that call. Her dad, wordless, grips her hand, his knuckles white, his silence louder than any cry. Let's pause to honor who Mandy Tran was, because her light deserves to shine brighter than this tragedy. The eldest of three sisters, she grew up in a working-class corner of Hong Kong, where rent was a constant struggle, and meals were often just rice with a drizzle of soy sauce. Mandy was the family's North Star, their beacon of hope. After school, she'd lead Michelle and Lisa to the library, quizzing them on math or history, while their parents worked late at their noodle shop, returning home steeped in the scent of broth and exhaustion. Mandy was a brilliant student, her desk a fortress of textbooks, highlighters and notes, her margins filled with doodles of airplanes. "One day I'll fly us out of here," she'd whisper to her sisters, her eyes alight with dreams. Against all odds, she earned a spot at the Chinese University of Hong Kong, one of the city's top schools. To help with bills, she worked nights at a cafe steaming lattes, scrubbing counters, her apron stained, but her spirit unbroken. She'd slip her sisters her share of mango pudding or bubble tea, grinning, "You guys need it more." Michelle chokes up recalling those moments, the way Mandy's love wrapped around them like a warm blanket. After college, Mandy landed her dream job at Skystar Airlines. She was a natural, her infectious laugh could soothe a nervous flyer, her quick thinking turned chaos into calm on turbulent flights. She'd text Michelle from layovers, sending selfies with the Eiffel Tower or a steaming bowl of ramen, her captions brimming with excitement. This is just the start. Mandy dreamed of a big life, a house for her parents, a family of her own, maybe a dog to greet her after long flights. To neighbors, she was a ray of sunshine, waving from her balcony, chatting about the weather or helping an elderly tenant with groceries. "She was our pride," Michelle says, her voice thick with grief. She had no enemies. Who could do this to her? The police start with the obvious suspects. Mandy's family is shattered. Her mom curled up sobbing, her dad staring into space, Michelle barely holding it together. They're innocent beyond doubt. Next is Mandy's boyfriend, Kevin Ho, a 30-year-old tech salesman who met her on a cruise in October. Their romance was a whirlwind. They went official within weeks, posting selfies on Instagram, Mandy calling him her guardian angel. Kevin is devastated when questioned, eyes, red voice cracking. He last saw Mandy on December 1st when they shared dim sum and planned a weekend getaway to Macau. They texted until noon on December 4th. She sent a selfie in her uniform, captioned, "Do I look cute?" He replied with a heart emoji, but later messages went unanswered. He assumed she was exhausted from a flight and resting. His alibi is airtight. He was in Shenzhen, 50 miles away, pitching deals to clients with emails, receipts, and hotel records to prove it. The cops rule him out. With Kevin cleared, the police turn to Regal Gardens' high-tech security cameras, and the footage unfolds like a scene from a thriller. On December 4th at 1:50 p.m., a man strides into the building, moving with brazen confidence, clad in a black jacket, sunglasses perched on his head, a faint smirk curling his lips. He paces outside Mandy's apartment for 40 minutes, his impatience betrayed by restless steps, and glances at his watch. At 2:20 p.m., Mandy steps out radiant in her Skystar uniform, pulling her suitcase ready for a shift. He seizes her shoulders, shoves her back inside, and slams the door with a thud that echoes on the tape. At 3 p.m., Mandy makes the terrified call to her airline. By 5:17 p.m., he's fleeing, head bowed a shadow, escaping the weight of his crime. Mandy never appears on camera again. Michelle watches the footage in a dim police station, her jaw tightening, fists clenching. "That's Michael," she says, her voice a mix of fury and dread. Michael mocked Mandy's ex-boyfriend, a man she left a year ago after a relationship that turned into a cage. The police lock on to him, peeling back the layers of a man defined by entitlement and rage. Michael Mock, 26, is the wayward son of a shipping tycoon raised in a world of penthouses, private schools, and a trust fund that could buy a small island. But his life is a trail of squandered opportunities. He flunked out of medical school at 20, too lazy to study, too arrogant to care. He burned through jobs in finance, real estate, even a brief stint selling used cars, his charm overshadowed by a short temper and shorter attention span. By 2013, he was unemployed, living off his parents' wealth, cloaking his insecurities in designer clothes. He'd flash cash at Lan Kwai Fong's neon-lit bars, picking up tabs to win fleeting admiration from strangers. A basketball fanatic, he dominated Thursday night games, sweating it out like he was chasing glory. To friends, he spun tales of epic romances, turning every date into a saga, even if it was just coffee. Michael met Mandy in November 2012 at a bustling Lan Kwai Fong bar, where she was picking up Michelle after a bartending shift. Her laugh cut through the smoky air, drawing him in. He played the perfect suitor, showering her with roses, handwritten notes, and promises of exotic vacations. Mandy, touched by his intensity, agreed to date him. For a few months, they were Instagram's golden couple, snapping selfies on Bali beaches, clinking champagne glasses in Macau, their captions dripping with devotion. Mandy's friends were skeptical. Michael seemed too slick, too possessive, but she saw potential, hoping he'd grow into the man he claimed to be. But Michael's true colors bled through, dark and controlling. His jealousy festered, erupting in February 2013 at Hong Kong International Airport. Spotting Mandy chatting with a male colleague about a bumpy flight, he stormed over, face-flush veins bulging, and screamed, "You cheating slut," before a stunned crowd of passengers and crew. The colleague was just a friend, but Michael's rage didn't care. He saw Mandy as his possession, not his partner. That night, Mandy confronted him, her patience worn thin. Checking his phone, she found flirty texts to other women, heart emojis, late-night, "Hey gorgeous" messages. She was done. She ended it, blocked his number, deleted their photos, and told him to stay away. But Michael wouldn't let go. He turned stalker, creating fake Instagram and WhatsApp accounts to bombard her with venom. "You're nothing without me," one message stopped her cold. "I'll kill you if you move on." Mandy showed it to Michelle, her hands shaking, her voice small. "I'm scared," she admitted, her usual spark dimmed. Mandy lived cautiously, jumping at shadows, her dad taking weeks off work to drive her to Skystar's office, his old Toyota, a makeshift shield. Michelle and Lisa took turns walking her to the bus stop, scanning for Michael's presence. With her family's support, Mandy began to heal. By October 2013, her smile was back, her laugh ringing through the apartment. She met Kevin Ho, a kind-eyed salesman who made her feel safe, who listened instead of lectured. They planned a Macau getaway, dreaming of road trips and quiet nights. Mandy was rebuilding her life, but Michael was watching, tracking her flights, her social media, his obsession curdling into a deadly plan. The police follow Michael's trail, and it's a path littered with guilt. After leaving Mandy's apartment on December 4th, he's caught on a grainy ATM camera half a mile away, fumbling with her debit card, punching in codes that fail. He tries twice to withdraw cash, his frustration evident as the machine rejects him, likely because he didn't know the PIN. Bank records confirm the failed attempt's timestamp to his frantic exit from Regal Gardens. Back at the apartment, investigators find Mandy's suitcase stuffed atop her parents' wardrobe and her handbag hidden under blankets in the living room, a clumsy attempt to make it look like she'd left for a flight. The stage scene screams of a killer trying to cover his tracks. Michael's phone records tighten the noose. On December 5th, he meets a basketball teammate at their usual court, fresh scratches glowing red on his neck. He brushes it off. "My girlfriend got rough," but skips practice, his unease palpable. On December 6th, he confesses to a friend over beers, his voice flat as he describes strangling Mandy, blindfolding her with the scarf to stay calm, and chillingly justifies it. "If I can't have her, no one can." On December 8th, he calls another friend, admitting he killed someone and is fleeing Hong Kong. The police issue a $38,000 reward, and Hong Kong erupts in a collective cry for justice. Mandy's face dominates TV screens, newspaper front pages, and social media shared thousands of times. The friend who heard his confession goes public, his voice trembling on a news broadcast. "Mike, you can't run forever. Turn yourself in. Mandy deserves that. Michael vanishes into mainland China, slipping into the shadows of dusty towns. For 3 years, he's a ghost working cash jobs at factories where no one checks IDs, blending into crowds with a practiced smile. He later starts a family playing the doting dad, while Mandy's family grieves. In October 2016, his girlfriend's father, suspicious of his vague stories, searches online and finds Michael's wanted poster. He alerts the police, and on October 29th, Michael's arrested in a Shenzhen salon mid-haircut, his bravado collapsing as handcuffs snap shut. He confesses, claiming guilt haunted him, but his 3 years of carefree living betray the lie. In January 2018, Michael's trial in Hong Kong's High Court grips the city. He spins a desperate story claiming the murder was an accident. He says he visited Mandy to reconcile, and she mocked him during an argument, prompting him to snap and strangle her. The prosecution tears through his lies. The coroner found no CPR marks, only signs of Mandy's agony, with his DNA under her broken nails. The scarf was tied with brutal force, her neck bruised black and purple. Friends testified to his earlier threats in chilling confession. "If I can't have her, no one can." Michelle takes the stand, her voice steady despite tears, declaring Mandy had moved on, free of Michael's shadow. Her mom, clutching a worn photo of Mandy in her uniform, breaks down, her sobs echoing through the courtroom. The gallery falls silent, jurors wiping tears, the weight of loss palpable. The judge, a stern veteran, labels Michael a remorseless predator who planned a murder with cold precision. The evidence is overwhelming: security footage capturing his every move, scratches linking him to the struggle, failed ATM attempts, confessions to friends in the staged suitcase. After a tense deliberation, the jury returns a 6-1 verdict, guilty of murder. Michael is sentenced to life without parole, standing impassive, offering no apology. Outside, Michelle faces a swarm of cameras, her voice raw. No sentence brings Mandy back. He's a monster, but she's at peace now. Mandy Tran was a dreamer, a sister who shared her last bite, a daughter who carried her family's hopes. She'd braid Lisa's hair, help Michelle with homework, and promise her parents a home. At Skystar, she was a star-calming passenger, volunteering for extra shifts. Michael's obsession stole her future, but justice prevailed through relentless police work, unyielding technology, and a city's resolve. This case is a stark warning. Toxic love is in love. It's a trap. Control threats, refusal to let go. These are red flags, not passion. Mandy's story urges us to listen, speak out, and act before it's too late. Closing. That's it for today's deep dive, folks. Mandy Tran's story breaks our hearts, but it's a powerful reminder to cherish life, respect boundaries, and confront toxic behavior. If this hit home, give it a like, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you think of Michael's sentence? Should he ever see the light of day again? Let's talk. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. More true crimes coming your way. Stay safe, hold your loved ones close, and rest in peace, Mandy. See you next time.